When you first taking knowledge, the first thing you take with the stuff that it is 100% we know it is true, which is al-Aqidah, the theology, the faith. And then once your knowledge start increasing and increasing, then you start studying the other differences between the scholars. So I remember when I studied my Aqidah, when I studied the theology, oh my God, that was something. I'm gonna tell you a story happened with me, and this is true. I was I have a friend of mine, the one that I told you about in Dallas. She was, she's a very close friend to me, and I wanted to study religion so bad. I was doing also, I was taking classes also in the university, but I felt that it wasn't enough for me. So she said, "Oh, there is this alim, this scholar that he's coming to Dallas, and mashallah, he is very knowledgeable. He is one of the scholars and the students of Ibn al-Uthaymin. Ibn al-Uthaymin is known to be one of the greatest scholars in Saudi Arabia. He's like one of the muftis that he can actually, from his knowledge, that he can tell you what is halal and what is haram, even with the differences and things like that. So, and he's also, of course, he memorized the Quran and the Hadith and everything. So he's a great scholar. So he's one of his students. And she told me, you need to come and learn Aqidah. So I came, and subhanallah, our class was like one of the very classic classes. Like when the Imam came and he sat, the men were in one side, and then we did it in her house. So she put like a curtain between us and the men and the women. So the women, she wears niqab, so the women wouldn't see the men, and the men wouldn't see the women. And so I sat there, and at the time I was like still new Muslim. I was like probably 2-3 years Muslim, and subhanallah. But I was very deviant. Like at the first of my 6 months, I became like a Quranic, that I did not believe in the Hadith. I wanted just to believe in the Quran. And then after that's another story. I probably can share it with you. And then that's a big story. And then I came back to the Sunnah because I just wanted to please my husband at that time. But I had so many questions, and then I had all these Muslims that when they knew that I'm a new Muslim, they start contacting me and asking me things about Islam, as I am the scholar, And that's what happened. Like when they see a new Muslim, they start asking, is it halal to do this? Is it halal to do this, or haram, or something like that? And they forget that the new Muslim don't have any knowledge. They think that, because they studied Islam, or they became Muslim, that means they know everything about Islam. Right, yes. It's like all injected in their head. Like you reprogram all the heart, and and things like that. So a lot of Muslims started asking me questions. Of course, that gave me some kind of arrogance, because I was like, oh, look at me, I am the new Muslim. This is very dangerous for a new Muslim, when all the Muslims come and they start hugging them and they tell them, mashallah, congratulations, you're a new baby, in Islam. You're gonna go to Jannah and things like that. This is like they just bought their ticket to Jannah or something like that, right? And so I was like this. I thought that, I have all the knowledge now. I am a Muslim. A lot of people come and ask me questions. I feel exactly. I feel like I have so much importance. Allah had to break my nose, by the way, to teach me a big lesson. Subhanallah. So anyway, I sat and. I came to the Imam and I told him, look, Imam, I am Ruba and I do da'wah to the non-Muslims, and I have my own website, and my own website have a lot of answers of questions from the Muslims and non-Muslims. I have my own blog, things like that, blah blah, tried saying all these things. So the Imam got so quiet. Wow. And that scared me actually, because he said, you want to be in my halaqah? And I said, yes, of course I want to be in your halaqah. He said, well, if you want to be in my halaqah, you need to take your website down. That's what he told me. He said, you need to come and sit down like you don't know Islam or nothing about Islam. It's like you're sitting over here and you need to learn everything from the scratch. Exactly. Be quiet Don't say a word and just hear what I'm saying. And you're not allowed to ask any questions in the beginning until I finish my lectures. That's what he said. He said, I'll allow you to sit right now. And that was really devastating for me. Because it's like, my website, I tell you, I had my Facebook, I had my website. It's like a mansion for me. Because it took me months to build it and to put all that information. And then now I look back and say, subhanallah, it was a good thing that he asked me to do that, because a lot of information that I used to put in there from like Shia websites, from Ismaili websites, from like non-Muslims websites, like from even like Baha'i and things like that, that all the information, I thought that when I get my information, I use Google and things like that. So I thought that, oh, this is a website, it looks Muslim, then okay, it is true, then I'm gonna take the information from there. I didn't have no knowledge at that time, and I thought that I'm a scholar.
Shake Google, huh?
Yes, he had to slap me on the face, really. And it took me a week, because we had to meet the next week. So it took me a week doing istikhara and praying about it and asking Allah help me. But Allah guided me, alhamdulillah. And I did take everything off. I closed my website, I remember. I closed the Facebook, closed everything. For probably like a year. And then I opened it up, but I redesigned it and I changed a lot of information after I started to realize that I was doing something wrong,
You had to fully submit.
Alhamdulillah. And even this Sheikh even let me to teach also other new Muslims about the Aqidah and things like this. So I mean, it paid off, alhamdulillah. But it was at the beginning, but I still have that ego in me until, subhanallah, I got that tribulation and I left Islam, because I became so strict, thinking that everybody's around me is a kafir and I am better than them. I'm a good Muslim and everybody's just doing bid'ah and all the things like that. Allah broke my nose in the hard way, and I learned my lesson that when we first seek knowledge, don't seek knowledge of the differences between the scholars. First take the sound aqidah, the sound faith, the sound theology that we know already from the Quran and the Sunnah. And then we talk, and then after we are established with that sound theology, then we start learning about the differences between the scholars and what this scholar say and what is this scholar say and so on.